Olá pessoal, estamos aqui com mais um episódio do Cast for Closers, seu podcast para dominar inside sales e colocar suas metas no bolso. O tema de hoje é como fazer uma demo foda ou how to do a Kickass Sales Demo. A gente está aqui com o Keenan, ele é CEO na empresa A Sales Guy, autor do livro Not Taught. Eu conheci o Keenan no Inbound, um evento em Boston, cerca de um mês atrás, e o tema do painel dele foi justamente esse, como fazer uma demo que converte, e convidei o Keenan, que aceitou prontamente o convite. So, hi Keenan, it's a pleasure to have you here with us on Cast for Closers.
Hey, my man, it's a pleasure. Thanks for having me, brother. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you. So, Keenan, one of the first steps I was reading in order to do a badass sales demo is the quality of the discovery call you take before, right?
Yes, absolutely, hands down, unequivocal, yes.
Yes. Can you share with us the most important insights to do a Kickass discovery call first?
Yeah, so discovery call sets everything up, right? So let's think about this, right? When you think about a demo, the purpose of a demo is to highlight the how your solution, how your product or service is going to help a customer, right? So
Yes.
if you don't understand the challenges that the customer has, if you don't understand how their operations work, if you don't understand the processes that they use, if you don't understand all of those things, you can't do a good demo. You're shooting in the dark. So a really good discovery process forces you to really dig into their business and understand what they're doing. And a couple of those things are, what are the processes? So if you think about, look, I'm assuming for most of your listeners, we're talking about SaaS applications,
Yes,
right? We're
right.
talking about some sort of SaaS application. So your SaaS application does something for customers. Well, if you stop and think about it, about 90% of what your SaaS application does is it affects processes. They'll do something different. So in order to really do a good demo, you need to understand how they're doing it today. What are the processes that your solution addresses, and find out what they're doing today. How are they doing an inventory process, or how are they doing a communication process, or whatever the process you affect, you need to understand how they're doing it, because that gives you the foundation to show how you can improve on those processes and save them time, save them money, get it done faster, affect more people, etc. So a really good discovery forces you to ask lots of questions around process. The second thing it does is it forces you to ask lots of questions around the problems they're having. What are the impacts of those process issues? You know, are they losing money? Are they losing to the competition? Are they spending more money than they want to? Are they losing inventory? Are they unable to connect with customers? Are they unable to make a sale? What's happening? What problems exist
Sure.
in their organization? And once you have those, then you can do a powerful demo. So the discovery is all about getting information to help you build a better solution for your clients through the demo.
Yes, sure. And let's assume now the prospect agreed to talk to us and participate in a demo. You move forward, you schedule a meeting, and it's a no-show. She doesn't appear, she or he doesn't appear. So what, in your opinion, could have been wrong? How can we decrease the number of no-shows? Is it in the quality of the discovery call?
So yes and no. That's a great question. So sometimes if they don't show up, it's because they didn't see value in the demo.
Yes.
So if you scheduled an hour or 45 minutes to a demo and somebody didn't show up, there's a strong probability they didn't show up because they didn't see the value. Like, I don't need this, or I don't want to waste my time. There's nothing here for me. So why would I burn 45 minutes? Something salespeople really need to understand is when it comes to our clients and customers, time is everything. Like, time is everything to these people. Nobody wants to waste half a second if they don't have to. So when you schedule a demo, you had better be clear that customer or prospect or client understands why that 45 minutes is worth it to them. They have to believe that they're missing something if they don't show up. You haven't created that level of intrigue. If you haven't created that level of value that they're afraid not to show up to the demo, you haven't done a good job. You want them excited about that demo. So I think that's the first thing. And so if you get to the place and haven't showed it, you probably haven't done that. There's also outside chances that they just got tied up. Stuff happens. They got called into another meeting. There was a client emergency, something with their children. So the first thing to do is don't assume that they didn't show up because of you. Assume something happened on their end and just politely reach back out and try to reschedule. If they ignore you, then what they're saying is they didn't see the value. And if you did a good discovery call and they're ignoring you and you see the value, then you can write a letter to your question, well, how do I get them back? You can write an email and say, hey, when we spoke, you shared, and then go to your discovery notes and figure out what they shared with you and say, you shared that your XYZ process is losing, $50,000 a month, or takes 24 hours, and your competitors do it in 6. Right? So is that something you'd still like to solve? Or have you found another solution? Right? So what you do is you challenge them on, by doing nothing, they're going to keep, those problems aren't going to go away, and you challenge them to let you know if they want to solve them or not.
Yeah, so the cost of not doing anything. We explore a lot here.
Yes. Remind them of the cost of not doing anything. Yeah.
Yeah, so could it be a bad fit customer? Like if it's like 50 or 60% of the time it's a no-show, could it be a bad fit issue?
Of course it could be a bad fit.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But you ask a great question here. You ask a great question, Diego. And of course it could be a bad fit. But this is what I tell salespeople, and listen closely, people, because most sales folks don't get this.
Yes.
Really, really good salespeople know it's a bad fit before the customer realizes it's a bad fit. So as you're doing the discovery call is as much for you to determine how strong your solution is as it is for the customer.
Yeah, sure.
Right? That's what it's all about. So if you get to a place where you don't think it's a bad fit for the customer, then you shouldn't have even scheduled the demo. Right? If you realize that, look, I can't help them with the problems they have, or how I can help would be really small, then don't schedule the demo. But if you believe that you can help them tremendously, and they're not listening to you, then you haven't conveyed that to them, and you got to get back into them and explain to them how they're missing out because they're not seeing what you're trying to get them to see.
Yeah. Maybe a sincerity issue from the sales guy attached to the prospect, right?
Yeah.
So let's do the opposite. We have our prospect online. There's 1,000 ways of beginning a demo. But I love the changing room metaphor you used that day when I watched your panel. So can you tell us a little bit more about that metaphor?
Yeah, so the metaphor I use for a demo is like a changing room in a clothing store, right? You see something on the rack. It looks good, but you want to see how it looks on you, because it may look good on your buddy who's 3 inches taller. It may look good on your girlfriend who's 30 pounds lighter or 30 pounds heavier. So just because it looks good on the rack doesn't mean it's going to look good on you. And so that's the same thing that's happening with the demo. Just because product A works really well for company A doesn't mean it's going to work well for company B, and company B wants to understand that. So the purpose of a good demo is leveraging that discovery information that helps you understand what's very unique about that specific customer, right? So it's, they're tall and skinny. Oh, no, they're short and fat. Oh, they're medium. So that when they try it on, you're making sure it fits for them. So they can see how your product or solution fits their specific, unique environment, not a general one.
Yeah, sure. So just a quick question on this. Let's assume the prospect gave us like 3 problems to solve. Do we start the demo with the most important or latent problem our prospect told us, or do we plan a logic sequence between them, among them, and stick to that?
Good question. I think at the end of the day, I don't have a huge opinion on this, but what I do and what I prefer, I guess, is I start with the problem that isn't the biggest, and I don't start with the problem that is in the chronological order. I start with the problem that I can create the most impact in.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So it may not be their biggest problem, and it may not be their smallest problem, but it's the problem that I can have the greatest level of impact. So if let's just say they described that they had a problem doing something, and it's the medium one. It's not the one that's most important to them, but it's one that bothers them. I'm going to start with that one to show them that completely goes away. Right?
Yes.
Let's just say they have a problem with I'm making this up, but moving inventory through the warehouse, and it takes them 2 days in 200 man hours, because it takes 5 guys 2 days, right? And they're losing tons of money, and packages get shipped out late. And I know that I have a new system that can get that done in 20 minutes. I'm going to show that first. Even though that's not their biggest problem, the mere fact that I can save them, 200 man hours in 20 minutes, you're damn straight I'm going to show that one first. Because they're going to be like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. And that sets them up for the next one. And then maybe there's one I can't address, or I'm only, a little bit able to solve. So when I get to that last one, like, in this other one, we can solve it. It's not our strength. We would do it this way. It would improve this way. But they're so bought in on all the other great stuff I solved for them that they're like, okay, we can work around that.
Yeah, it's like you gain their attention first, and then you show us another problems, less important problems.
Yeah.
Right?
Or problems that I can't solve as much. Remember, to me, it's not about how important the problem is. It's how I categorize it, but how well I can solve the problem. My solution fit.
Yeah, I think the next question you just answered. So let us say the demo went okay. How would you move from one problem to another? You said you would attack the most important problem, maybe not the biggest, and then move through the others, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I think before we move to the next problem, you have to make sure that the customer is with you. Yeah. So what I call that is anchoring. So even if it makes sense to you, let's use the example I just used a second ago. 2 days, 5 man hours, 5 men, 200 man hours. And I say I can make that go away in 20 minutes. So when I say I can make that go away in 20 minutes, I have to show them in the demo, right? I say, and it's important to do the compare and contrast. I say, okay, currently, your current state, you said that you take 5 guys and they use a forklift and they have to go through this sheet manually and find the piece of equipment, and then they have to drive the forklift over and lift it up and pick it up and do this and do that, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. Right? And say, well, in our system, the way we do it is I'm making this up, so it's not going to be perfect, but you get my point. In our system, if you go with us, what you'll do is we will send you a box of UPC codes that we will then, with a little chip inside, and when you bring your inventory in, you will automatically put that onto the product and scan it. So then when it's time for you to move them through the warehouse, all you have to do is go to your phone, and it will show you where in the warehouse that piece of equipment exists. And now one man can either use the forklift or our robot computerized solution, and we can get all of that moved now at one time using our robots, blah, 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 and it takes 20 minutes. So what I've done is I talked about how you do it today, then I talk about how we're going to do it tomorrow, and then at the end of it I say, can you see how that will help you? Can you see how that will save you money? Can you see this being a viable solution to the problem you described? That's called anchoring. And then you sit back and wait.
Yeah. Powerful validation from the client, even with a yes, right?
Yes. You want them to say yes. You sit back and you wait for them to say, yes, I can see how that would help. That would be a tremendous value. Or they might come back and say, yes, I can see how it would help, but. And then you listen very closely for the but.
Yes, and then explore another problem or another sales objection.
Yep, exactly. So you don't ever go on to another feature or to show them something else until you have anchored them in your solution and you've addressed it.
Yeah. I'm not sure if it was you that was using the metaphor like doing a demo for Windows and showing every feature to the customers. So you validate one before moving to another, right?
Yes. It was me. What I said is you don't ever want to do more than the 6-feature demo. Never show more than 6 features, right? Yeah. You can show sub-features of a feature, right? People don't have the time. So that's why the discovery is so important. You want to find the 3, 4, 5, maybe 6 features that your product or service has that can fix or address the challenges and problems you identified in the discovery process, and that's all you show. You don't try to show everything.
Yeah, very, very, very interesting. Another thing it caught my attention, what you told us about making the prospect see herself in a powerful future state, and that's almost obvious and brilliant at the same time. Can you give us some examples of that powerful future state in the end of the demo?
Yeah, so I like to do it. It's sort of similar to what we just talked about before when we talked about the current state, future state with the inventory, right?
Yeah.
When I get the I want to do that along the way. So when I get the customer to say, yes, I can see that would help, then you start getting to buy into the end future state. So, this would help and it would save you. How much money would that save you if you didn't have to pay all of those
5 workers?
All of those 5 workers in the 200 hours? Oh, that would save us about $10,000 a month or $10,000 a week because we have to do this once a week. So that's going to save us $50,000 a month. So that's going to save us about $50,000. It's going to save us about $500,000 a year. And then you say, so what would you do with that $500,000 savings? Right?
Yes.
So then you do that, and then you go to the next feature, and whatever that feature is, and you show them, you anchor them in that, and you say, and how would that benefit your organization? Can you see that providing value? And then you say yes. And then as you get to the end, what you begin to do is you begin to validate the future state that they originally wanted when they came to you. So you can start saying, so can you see or do you understand now that by going with Keenan inventory, you're going to have a lot more money to spend on additional product investment. You're going to be able to be more competitive with your customers, more competitive with your competition, and in some cases, you're going to be ahead of them, which is going to win you more deals. So now you're not going to lose some deals like you've lost in the past because of shipping times. And so I just start articulating what the new world is going to look like once they put our system in.
Yes, makes sense. Yeah. So
and that's the future state. That's the future state versus the current state. And it's the idea is, don't you want to come here to the future state, get out of this current state? This current state stinks. Why would you want to stay there?
Yeah, sure. So let's talk about closing a demo. How do we wrap it all up in order to generate an advance and not like let's keep in touch kind of thing for you?
Mm-hmm. So what the key, you wrap the whole demo up like you wrap up each feature, right? It's the same concept.
Yes.
Once you're done with the demo, you come back to it and say, okay, is there any other features or issues you'd like me to address? I think we've hit them all. So what you do is you come back and you say, you told me these are your problems. I think we've hit them all. Is there something I'm missing or are there additional questions? And of course there will be, and you go through those. But once they finally say, no, I think we're all set, that's when you come back and you try to close on the future vision. And you say, can you see how this would, or how this meets the needs or the challenges you have today and how this will create this type of environment? And if they say yes, then what you do is you move into the sale. You say, so understanding that, then what are your recommendations for next steps? And how do we move forward in making this happen? How do we bring this to reality? What are the next steps in you making the decision to make this work?
Yeah.
Right? Yes. And what you want to do there, the objective, regardless of the question, is you want to understand their decision process now. That once you get them to buy into the idea that the solution is something they want, your next objective is to understand the buying process. Okay, so you want this, or you think you want it, or you think it'll solve your problem, then how are you going to decide? Right?
Yeah,
I need
sense.
to talk to
Totally.
these people. I want you to do a demo for these people. We need to check budget. We're looking at additional vendors. And once we look at vendors, we'll do this. Like, you need to understand what their decision criteria is and their decision process is. And then once you do that, you insert yourself in the decision process.
Yeah, it makes total sense because you have like to gain his or her permission to know the buying process, not before doing the demo, but after, right?
Yes, after, because you have to show them and demonstrate that you have a viable solution that meets the specific needs and objectives that they have laid out, and that's the whole point of a demo, right?
Right.
Yeah. But once you've come to terms that you have done that, and they agree with you that yes, this meets our needs, this can deliver what we want it to deliver, then you move into the sale. Right now, the sale is okay. What is your process? How are you going to decide? Who's involved in the process?
Yes.
How are you going to compare to the competition? What elements or what decision criteria are most important to you? When do you want this in? How does implementation affect things? So you want to understand all of that stuff, and it's going to take time. But if you get them to at least give you an outline, then you can insert yourself by saying, okay, fantastic. Based on that, it seems that we should probably reconnect next week or in 3 days or in 2 weeks to discuss or to address or to evaluate this and make them say yes or no.
Yes, great examples of questions to close the demo. And Keenan, I would like to give you some room, some space now for final thoughts to your audience. And please feel free to approach any subject here.
Oh, I mean, I guess, all right, I guess I'll say this. Look, if you want to be successful in sales and you want to be successful with demos and getting your customers interested in your stuff, you have to become an expert in their field and in that field. And you have to become very good at understanding what the challenges and issues and problems are of your target customers, so that you can position yourself as a subject matter expert, not in your product, not in your service, but in the process issues, the problems, the challenges, the competition, the governmental mandates, all of that. All of the things that your prospects struggle with, you need to be an expert in, so that when you can first and foremost, before you ever sell your product, you can have a conversation about their world. And this is what I'll leave people with. The best salespeople can sell their product without ever mentioning their product.
It makes total sense. So thank you, Keenan, a lot for this interview. I enjoyed it a lot. I'm sure the audience will like it too.
My pleasure, man. My pleasure. Thanks for asking. I'm glad I could do it for you, brother.
Thank you.